Welcome to my season review of Bristol City so far. We're looking up to the international break, taking a look how the matches went, the key news, transfers, and everything that happened with Bristol City in the early part of the season. So let's get into it and have a look. And we start with the new Bristol City shirts for the 24-25 season. It's O'Neill's again produced the club shirt for the second season in a row, with e-commerce business Habu remaining the front of shirt sponsor. The home shirt, of course, is red with white as tradition. This season, it embeds a pattern which is representative of the matchday flags around Ashton Gate. A rounded collar in red and white checker is matched at the cuffs. There's also some inspiration of the Clifton suspension bridge, which is visible in both. It seems a mixed bag on the views. A 3.8, which is decent. Some fans really enjoying it and some fans saying not for them. Now, the away shirt is a cream yet clean style. It hits the highest out of all the Bristol City shirts this season on footballkitarchive.com with a 4.1 out of 5. It combines a rounded burgundy tight collar and bottom of the sleeves. Completing the kit, it's burgundy shorts with sort of creamy white socks. It's quite a fresh look, I think, and a nice effort from Bristol City. For their third shirt, they look to follow up on last season's away shirt. This season, it's again mainly black, but this time it features the club's red and white colours for logos and applications instead of silver. It's said to take inspiration from Bristol's vibrant graffiti culture and street art scene and features a very subtle all-over pattern. So the shirts are set. What about the football? The opening day clash between Hull City and Bristol City sprung into life late in the game. New signings Robins Fally Mayulu having his debut goal cancelled out by a late Oscar Estepinian penalty. Hull City had a new manager in the dugout. Tim Walter made his bow as the former Hamburg coach took charge with, of course, Liam Rosenior's sacking at the end of last season. While Liam Manning again leading out Bristol City as he has done since his appointment in November 2023. Now, in the game, Max O'Leary and Ivor Panda's saves ensured a goalless first half. The game took a bit of time to get some rhythm, many new additions on show on day one. Then Anis Mehmeti's deflected shot hit the top of Hull's crossbar early on in the second half as the Tigers made mistakes playing out from the back. Now, Hull City's warnings from the Bristol City's press went unheeded. They were eventually punished when substitute Fally Mayulu on his debut superbly controlled a slice clearance and found the bottom corner with a half volley from 15 yards out. At 22 years and 26 days, it made Mayulu the youngest player to score on his league debut for Bristol City since Louis Britton against Brentford in May 2021 when he was just over 20 years old. But Bristol City were denied the full 3 points and Hull found their way back into the match. A penalty was awarded for a foul on Marvin Malem, allowing Estepinian to slot the ball into the bottom corner for the match, finishing 1-1 with a share of the points. Really frustrating for the Robins. Tim Walter was the more positive of the two managers at the end in his first press conference, praising the team's character, while Manning described his feelings as hugely frustrated and disappointed, but more from a perspective of how well his side approached the game and not to take 3 points out of it. Positive start for Bristol City. Now, as part of these videos, I like to include a good news story that I find amongst the updates, and this has been found by a great achievement by the Bristol City Robins Foundation, and it relates to Tough Mudder. On Saturday, August the 10th, 20 brave fundraisers travelled to Badminton Estate. They took on the Tough Mudder Southwest to raise money for the Bristol City Robins Foundation. Now, Tough Mudder, of course, is known as the world's best and difficult obstacle course. It aims to test strength, stamina, mental grit of all the runners, and it's 30 obstacles across 15 kilometres. No easy feat at all. Weeks of training and determination came to a head at 9 o'clock in the morning when the team were thrown headfirst into Tough Mudder's ethos. They took part in a group warm-up and chanted the Tough Mudder pledge. It's a great kind of team effort thing as well. People help each other during the course. It's mentally and physically challenging for both and an excellent way to raise money for the foundation. They took on this challenge alongside runners from PKF Francis Clark and Snap Fitness Ashton Gate. So congratulations and well done to everybody involved. Bristol City's journey into this year's EFL Cup was halted at the first attempt as Coventry City took the path to the second round at Ashton Gate. Both keepers had made first half saves in the game, with both teams very much changed from their weekend opening league fixture. It was a stalemate at half time before Coventry manager Mark Robins made 5 substitutes just after the hour mark. Coventry substitute Ellis Sims scored his first of the season just 3 minutes after being introduced into the match. Bristol City were dispossessed on the halfway line. It found Casey Palmer and he cut in around 30 yards out, hitting a really good sliding bending pass to Sims, who had dropped away and created some space away from the defender at the far right of the penalty area. He managed to control it with an outstretched toe and then drill into the opposite corner. Later on in the match, a long shot from Mehmeti was palmed away by goalkeeper Ben Wilson, and Zach Vinyl got underneath a cross ball from a corner right at the end as Coventry sealed their passage to the second round and saw Bristol City eliminated. So Scott Twine returns to Ashton Gate on a permanent deal, having spent the second half of last season on loan from Burnley. The fees reported to be around £4 million for Twine as he joins Manning's squad on a 4-year deal. He scored on his debut with a header against Watford last season, and he went on to play 10 appearances, and he added one more goal for the team before his return to Turf Moor in the summer. But Bristol City went back in for Twine as Manning knows the player very well, having played under him at MK Dons in the past. An exciting playmaker, he's now 25 years old, coming hopefully into his prime. He'll be looking to stamp his mark on the Bristol City team as he takes the number 10 shirt vacated by Andy King. Early weeks show that he's doing quite well, and hope is he's going to have a really good season for Bristol City. On the outgoings, Middlesbrough came in for forward Tommy Conway, and last season's young player of the season for Bristol City moves to the Riverside for around £4.5 million. Tommy Conway had been at the club since the age of 7, progressing through into the first team, overall scoring 25 goals in 92 appearances. Since making his debut in April 2017, he went on to be a key part of the Bristol City squad. He's been consistent last 2 seasons, scoring 12 in each of those in all competitions, and it earned him a call-up to the Scottish national team and a place on the plane for Euro 2024. Fans will, of course, fondly remember his equalising goal in the FA Cup third-round match against West Ham last season, as well as the important replay goal as Bristol City knocked out Premier League opposition. So Conway moves on to Middlesbrough. Bristol City and Millwall played out a 7-goal thriller at Ashton Gate, with their new signing Scott Twine popping up with just minutes to go to secure a 4-3 victory for the Robins. Bristol City were unchanged as Liam Manning named the same team that started the draw against Hull City on the opening weekend, while Millwall manager Neil Harris followed suit using the same 11 that he used on matchday 1. The Robins started this one on absolute fire as Anis Mehmeti scored his first of the season after just 3 minutes, controlling a cross not dealt with to fire home from close range. This was before Sinclair Armstrong got his first for Bristol City, of course, a summer transfer. He had an unmarked header meeting Mac Bird's cross from the left wing that flew past the goalkeeper to put Bristol City 2-0 ahead. Millwall managed to strike back on 51 minutes. Roman Esse tricked his way past the defender in the box and buried a low right-footed shot past Max O'Leary. 3 minutes later, it's turning on its head. The lines were levelled. Tom Bradshaw sent O'Leary the wrong way from the penalty spot after George Tanner had blocked a Duncan Watmore header with his hand. The turnaround was complete as Watmore put Millwall ahead in the 64th minute. It looked like Millwall had turned it completely, superbly caressing a high right-footed volley beyond O'Leary's dive from 12 yards. But back came City. It wasn't over. Substitute Fally Mayulu exchanging passes with Bird before sending a low drive inside the far post with 12 minutes remaining. He's been very exciting in the early weeks, and another goal there for Mayulu. Then the new signing, Scott Twine's win, of course, coming the day after he completed his permanent move from Burnley. The midfielder got on the end of a Joe Williams cross from the right to score from the edge of the 6-yard box. A thrilling 7-goal effort with Bristol City coming back after being pegged back. Brilliant 4-3 win. So back to the transfers as Bristol City still look to finalise their squad for this season. So signing a 2-year deal with the Robins is midfielder Mark McGuane, who had previously worked with Liam Manning together at Oxford United. Manning said this is a great opportunity for him. I know the type of character he is from working with him before. Now, 25-year-old central midfielder McGuane had been part of Oxford United's first team for the last 3 seasons. He made 152 appearances and scored 3 goals for Oxford. His career started in the Arsenal Academy, and he did make an appearance for the Gunners in the Europa League before moving to Barcelona as a youngster at just 18. The Catalan Giants even had at one stage a £25 million buyout clause in his agreement, so clearly fancied as a high-profile youngster. Taylor Gardner-Hickman has joined Birmingham City on a season-long loan with an option to buy. He scored once last season with a phenomenal, memorable strike against Middlesbrough at Ashton Gate amongst his 40 appearances for the club. Now 22 years old, Gardner-Hickman does have 2 England under-20 caps to his name, He, of course, joined Bristol City permanently in January after they exercised a loan to buy deal with him from West Brom, and he was given the Player of the Month in December for the Robins. So he moves to Birmingham City with the option of making it permanent. So, in a repeat of their EFL Cup tie just 11 days prior, it was Bristol City against Coventry City at Ashton Gate. This time around, the points, though, were shared as Casey Palmer scored an equaliser against his old team. Liam Manning made just a single change to the lineup, with Scott Twine making his first start since returning permanently, of course, after scoring that late winner against Millwall, as Anis Mehmeti dropped to the substitutes bench. It was a strong first half from Bristol City. They forced 2 saves from Coventry goalkeeper Oliver Dovin in the space of a minute, as first Max Bird's left-footed effort from 25 yards was parry clear before the Coventry keeper batted away Tanner's powerful strike from a similar distance. Dovin was at it again as he bravely saved at the feet of Sinclair Armstrong following a great through ball from Scott Twine, while at the other end Victor Torp had Coventry's only decent first half effort cleared by Rob Dickey after a well-worked corner routine. Bristol City weren't mucking about when they broke the deadlock with an excellent goal. The Twine had seen his free kick from 30 yards palmed away by Dovin. The resulting corner then was cleared, but just Tanner with a brilliant, superb right-footed volley into the top left corner to give the Robins the lead. Coventry responded. They started the second half brighter as Ellis Sims had a chance before Hadji Wright's excellent turn saw him drive into the penalty area only to blaze an effort into the side netting. Bristol City looked to fight back. Bird had another shot saved from a well-worked free kick before Mark Sykes' follow-up was bravely blocked by Josh Eccles, and Anis Mehmeti failed to get on the end of a Bird's cross as they were still continuing to make chances. But the hosts were made to pay for their missed chances. It was their old boy that equalised. Cross came in from Mason Clark from the right. It was headed back by Lewis Binks, and Tanner's poor clearance was pounced upon by Casey Palmer, of all people. Both sides could have won it. Home substitute Mayulu had an effort saved by Dovin, while Mason Clark's shot went wide as well. For his teammate Brandon Thomas Asante broke clear, but he dragged his effort wide of the far post in the 9th minute of stoppage time. So honours even, 1-1. So deadline day was upon Bristol City. They had one more move to make, and they went back to Burnley to bring in Luke McNally, the centre-half joining after 2 years in Lancashire. He signed a 4-year deal at Ashton Gate. McNally said of the move, "I'm really excited and very grateful to be at a club like Bristol City. I'm excited to get going, and getting to see the training ground and meeting all of the people has been great. I wanted to join for the project really, and the manager has been successful, and I can see he's really building something special here." Said there seems to be a good buzz around the club at the minute, and hopefully I can help with that. Now, McNally spent some time on loan at Coventry City and Stoke City after the past 2 seasons, and he actually reached the playoff final in 2023 with Coventry, narrowly losing out on promotion, of course, to Luton Town on penalties. The head coach Manning said, "Luke has a great pedigree and a lot of experience at championship level, has all the attributes that you would want in a defender, and is pleased he is joining us, giving us another great option and the type of player and person that we want in the building." McNally has been chosen to wear the number 15 shirt. Bristol City suffered their first championship loss of the season as Derby County put 3 past the Robins to make it 8 successful home league wins on the bounce for Derby. There was just a single change from the Coventry draw in the lineup as Rob Dickey had sustained a hamstring injury. The expected sideline time around 2 months is being reported. Kai Naismith coming in as his replacement at centre-back. The Rams were on the back foot for much of the first half and had limited possession. They still looked threatening on the break. Sinclair Armstrong and Scott Twine both went close for City. Dutch midfielder Kenzo Houtmane, I think that's how you pronounce it, deflected strike from him from the edge of the box. He put the hosts 1-0 up, and Derby never really looked back from there. A brilliant Curtis Nelson block managed to keep out Twine's shot, though, for Bristol City, and ensured that Derby maintained this lead at the break. For Jerry Yates teed up Caden Jackson's powerful right-footed effort, which beat keeper Max O'Leary from 15 yards to make it 2-0. Derby continued to push, and it did look like a third was coming. Nathaniel Mendes-Lang and Yates both saw efforts come back off the post. And then the third finally came with David Ozo scoring his first senior goal of his career. He struck home a rebound following O'Leary's initial save from an Ebou Adams shot. Derby manager Paul Warne commented after the match he thought it was his favourite performance of his career as a manager. He said, "We look like a team that I want. Our performance was right up there. I loved it. And even if we'd have come off and they'd have nicked 2 in the last minute, I'd still have loved it." Manning was less happy, of course. We could have been a bit braver with the ball. The second half just wasn't good enough. It wasn't us, and that was probably the most frustrating thing. So going into the international break, not a great result for the Robins. So looking overall at things for Bristol City so far, and a transfer window that saw players such as Matty James, Andy King and Andreas Weimann leave, as well as Tommy Conway, of course. Bristol City reset their squad with 7 new additions. 5 permanent additions in Fally Miulu, Sinclair Armstrong, Scott Twine, Marcus McGuinn and Luke McNally, while also securing season loans for Yu Hirakawa and George Earthy. Now, Bristol City had their squad set for the Championship season at the end of the window until at least January when that window reopens. Now, looking at the performance of Liam Manning's side in those opening 4 games, from an attacking perspective, some really encouraging signs. With 6 goals recorded so far, they are sitting in the top half of the table for teams in terms of both goals scored and shots taken. Accuracy on target is also very high. They're hitting 5.3 shots on target per 90 and 41% on target percentage, which deserves to have delivered more goals. Particularly when you consider they've run into a couple of strong goalkeeping performances so far in their last 2 games against Oliver Dovin, of course, for Coventry, making 6 saves against them, and Jacob Zetterstrom for Derby, who also made 5 saves. It's always a bit chicken and egg because you could say, have they been a bit more clinical? But certainly look at those stats and probably be encouraged that they think more goals will come. Defensively, it's highlighting some of the early struggles a little bit. Of course, conceding 3 against Millwall, even though they got a victory, 3 again against Derby County. 8 goals have sailed in against them so far in the league. Max O'Leary is making 2.3 saves at a 65% save percentage, which is helping with his 6.78 overall rating that SofaScore.com are giving him so far being justified. But the defence are giving up more shots than you would want, really, to fight in the top half. Certainly at 2 goals conceded per 90. Proved, as I said, with the 3 conceded against Derby and Millwall. You just can't rely on the attack getting you back into these games week after week. So Bristol City are playing a high possession game, 58% possession average, which is the 3rd highest in the Championship, only behind Leeds United and Swansea City. While the Robins do pick up more fouls than they give with this style as well, so they're pretty good on the discipline side of things. Overall, new signing Scott Twine leads the SofaScore.com match ratings. He's been given a 7.4 overall so far with 2 starts and a substitute appearance, while Max Bird, Joe Williams and Mark Sykes are the highest performers in the midfield alongside Twine. So that defeat by Derby County really cost Liam Manning's side in the league. I know it's early days, but they dropped from 7th in the table after 4 games. As I said, early days, 4 points on their efforts so far. Robins will be looking to pick up more and push on after the international break, facing an away game against Blackburn Rovers next, who of course have started well. After that, they welcome Championship new boys, Oxford United to Ashton Gate, who are yet to pick up a single point away from home. And there comes the end of this early season Bristol City review. I hope you've enjoyed it. Please support my channel. That would be great. Liking, subscribing the video. Hit that notification button as I'm going to be doing more club updates and things to do with the EFL through the season. And if you like EFL football, which I'm hoping you do watching this video, then I think I have a podcast for you. If EFL football is your thing, and indeed National League football, check out the Absolute Football podcast, Monday, Wednesdays and Thursdays. On Thursday, it is our absolutely lower league show covering EFL and National League. Check the YouTube channel out now with EFL and National League previews. That's the Absolute Football podcast.